one of the counties pia zilikuwa zikisemekana ziko na corruption mob kabisa, of course ni hizo ni the northern frontier. Sijui kama umesikia hivyo. So inasemekanaga like even the buildings around Eastleigh na buildings za South Sea zote ni taxpayers money. So how many of your friends tuna expect kuonana kunguru soon? Because niko sure ni mabesi zako.
No. You know me, I have told you, I worked for government only 2 years. 2009 and 10.
Okay.
From there niliingia private sector. Then nikafanya director for regulator and now chair. So the thing is, some of the headlines huwa nasomanga, naangalia, najiulizanga, how are those things possible? So sometimes unapata headline inasema Marsabit County has misappropriated 9 billion. Headline kubwa.
Yes.
So naangalia allocation ya Marsabit inakuanga ngapi? Napata ni 9 billion. So as a scientist, as a doctor, as a critical thinking, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, the first question najiuliza, how is that possible? I'm not saying there's no corruption, but you see the headline has said 9 billion has been lost. And these guys, their allocation is the whole 9 billion. So unataka kuniambia for a whole year, si hawajalipa mshahara, hawajafanya electricity, water, recurrent expenditure. They did nothing for a whole year. So huyu governor akaenda kwa bank, akachukua 9 billion akaenda nayo.
Okay.
So the thing that you need to understand is, how does government function? Forget about the national headlines za hizi newspapers. And sometimes I look at it and I ask myself, maybe Uhuru, there is something he was saying when he said gazeti ni ya kufungia nyama. Because you see, sometimes you look at the headline and it doesn't balance with the story.
Okay, because so see headlines, angalia na quote dem anaitwa Hanifa. Of course unajua Hanifa. Hanifa alikuwa ameandika fundraising over 100 million to build a madrasa when your people are literally starving and studying under the tree is a messed up situation. First of all, why are all northeastern leaders living in Nairobi? So this is not a headline. This is actually someone who feels like she's part, she understands the community more than sisi ule from the outside tunaiangalia na staki uitete from the basis of tunakuwaga na history ya tribe camaraderie that we feel like we need to kutetea. So kama mimi watu wanaexpectigi ni kuja hapa niseme nasemaga some of the most useless counties in Kenya ni Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay na Migori, and they are useless because you have these professors, and the professors, the best thing nezaenda ni kuona kumeandikwa no open defecation. Like I need more than that. Nacheki. So unafeel nini ukiona kitu kama hii? Pole nimekuingiza kwa politics.
No, I understand. Luckily I have no interest in politics. Even public service I don't have an interest.
Suko public service?
No, niko sahi, like as in I don't plan ati nikuwe appointed
political
into
office. Yes. Okay.
Like CS, PS or something like that. No. I think what the public need to understand is understanding how budgeting, how resource allocation, how utilization of resources are done. One of the things that you need to look at whenever you have those things is, like, to say make county X, the money allocated to them is 1 billion. Just an example. So the first thing that you need to ask is, how much is personal emolument? Like recurrent expenditure.
Yes.
Salaries, nini, what, ni how much?
Yes.
So once you see, so the first thing then you realize is, it's not the 1 billion inaweza potea. So you ask yourself, ningapi then zinaweza potea? So the second thing is, how much has been set aside for development? So for development, you will find most counties don't have even the headroom, the leg room ya kufanya development. They are needed, they consume more on salaries. Why? Because every governor comes, employs people, relatives, friends, political campaign guys, nini. So the wage bill in a balloon. So pesa hata hakuna. Ile inabaki ni kidogo in such a way that hata kufanya some of these things inakuwa ngumu. And that is now where I was coming. You remember, ulikuwa unasema acha serikali andike kazi watu. Unajaza watu. Productivity inaenda zero. People who are expected to do certain things will not do. They will say they want per diem. They want DSA. Unaelewa hizo vitu?
Nakwambia hizo ni zile vitu waga zimekubalika because the buck stops with the president. Yani with the leadership. The buck stops with the leadership. But atuta get into that. Tukimalizia na stories za Northeastern. Another thing.
So in terms of yes, is there corruption? Yes. Are there people who are inflating certain things? Yes. Is the money enough to do everything? Never. So the question is, how do you engage as a youth or as an individual in priority and budgeting of your county? You know, each county does its budget. They do public participation. So corruption usually happens at the budgeting process. At the budgeting process is where you say, we have set aside 100 million ya kuchimba boreholes.
Yes.
For example, if you are in northern Kenya. So then unasema, hii borehole, wacha Mwafrika afanye na 50 million borehole moja. Now that's where the problem is.
Yes.
Not the full 1 billion. It's at that 100 million, hapo ndio pesa imeibiwa. Because this other part, ni salary umelipa, umelipa statutory deduction, umelipa electricity, umelipa water, umelipa all the fuel ya hizo magari, umelipa these other issues enye DSA, per diem, nini. So umetumia pesa kufanya your recurrent expenditure. Yes.
Okay. And still tukistick na nini, you are a doctor.
Yes.
So hii swali nakuuliza as a doctor, and sasa pia utaangalia pia as a Somali. But kuna kitu still Hanifa had written. She'd written, one of my biggest dreams after finishing school is to sojourn Northeastern and liberate young girls from that slavery of early marriage, FGM, women staying in toxic marriages. Alafu akasema, I'll take with me my faith in God, my goodwill, and my journalistic endeavors. A lot of this stuff we have zero control over. But as a doctor, FGM, do you think it's something that can be discouraged in the Somali community?
Yes, and it's discouraged, and there are people who don't do. Somalis. Yeah.
Ishafika level, like some girls, they're allowed to.
Yeah. I don't know why people ask. You know, the problem is it is social media and everything is ballooned like it looks like the walls are falling, the country is burning. So there are many who live in this area, so who don't circumcise their daughters.
Okay, that's a good thing. Sinujua nywele ngumu, so stay away from Somali girls. Inakuwaga ni shida. So it's good to see. That's what nimeongea hiyo.
Yes. There are many young Somalis who are professionals. How are they professionals? And they have never been married. They have gone to school. They have finished high school. They have gone to universities. They are working. Wacha nianze na Hanifa mwenyewe. Isn't she a professional?
Yeah, she is.
Is she married?
No.
So?
Okay, kuna hiyo.
So she wasn't married young, a teenager. Yeah.
Okay.
So meaning her family did not marry her off. So they are, and this is common.
Progressive,
like you will find, society cannot be just one. Wote wanafuata line moja.
Yeah.
You will have people who will some will do this, some will not do this.
Yes.
The same thing. Not every Somali anachumira. So would you say Somali wote wanakula?
Oh, nachio.
No, never. I've never.
Yes,
So
yes.
that already tells you, like, you cannot stereotype.
Yes.
And that's the problem. Stereotyping. The same way now people stereotype Costarians and say they are lazy. That's wrong.
Yes.
So and this is the challenge that we have. Now wazungu wakisema Waafrika ni wajinga, tunaruka, tunasema, hey, how can you say that? So you can't also do the same thing and say, hawa watu wanahitaji liberation.
Okay. And then, of course...
In any way, FGM by law is not allowed.
Okay. Because lakini kuna watu hide behind religion. In the religion, is it...
No,
is
even
it
in the
allowed?
religion, the things they do is not allowed.
Oh, okay. But sasa nini, another controversy imekuwa around the Somali community imekuwa ni stories za ID. Na stories za ID, kuna wengine wetu tunaogopa that if the Somali shows up in Kenya, it might anaweza kuwa na culture shock. Because unajua ndapata sisi nywele ngumu ndio wengi na tunafanya vitu mingi za kikafiri. So as a Somali, do you think tuko discriminatory ama do you understand our fears?
So there are two things. Back again to the manifesto.
Yes.
The same thing on discrimination. So before, I think Kibaki came, I think it was after Kibaki, is when there used to be an extra card. Are you aware?
Okay, askonajua extra card.
What was it called, a screen card or something? You must have had a card to show kuwa, forget all these other documents.
Okay.
You need another card.
Forget the national ID.
Ndio apply national ID. Ilitolewa. During Kibaki's time. Ikasema hiyo ni discrimination. It's like the way the colonialists used to say, nyinyi lazima mbebe
kipande
pass. Kikuyu, sijui, Embu, what walikuwa na yao. Similar for Somalis. So in the manifesto, the thing that the president said was, we will remove anything that's discriminatory for border communities. Border communities, and this is what surprises me. There are lawyers on this other side.
But to be honest, you understand why we are not worried about lawyers. If you are to be honest. Unaelewa?
So
because of the youth,
the bias,
the youth.
It's the youth.
Unacheki kuna hiyo level ya okay.
No, but you see, for Northeastern, the issue has always been the shifter war, the war. That's why ulikuwa na hiyo extra card na nini. But the youth, there is security for that work that we are supposed to do.
Our youth wakikuja hapa na wapate IDs, unajua watakuwa na access to places whereby they'll easily get offended. Unajua we you as a Kenyan Somali, kuna vitu umekaa muka accept, this is part of this society, utapitwa na dema meva a short skirt, haita kuoffend. Lakini ule youth ametoka Mogadishu, wachikio ni different huyo. Hapo hajazoea peace. I don't want peace.
No, but you see, youth wametoka Mogadishu pia wanaendanga US. Wanaendanga easy European countries.
Yes.
So
but Kenya, hatuna that security detail. Alafu, nikupatia another example.
Then for me, the way I would look at all these things is the national security agencies know and have ways of handling this issue. So the thing that was removed is that discrimination and bias. The discrimination and bias does not affect one community. It affects the Digos in Kwale.
Yes.
It affects the Masais in Namanga, Kajiado.
Yes. Loitoktok.
It affects the Kurias at the border of Tanzania.
Kurias ndoka Isebania?
Okay. It affects them. It affects the Luyas. it affects the
I think with
Pokot, sijui Karamajong,
you see, but this was announced.
unaona Uganda hapo hiyo Pokot area.
But Abdi, hii kitu ilikuwa announced Northeastern. Unaunderstand? Alafu apart from Northeastern, kumbuka majuzi Natembeya ulichekile speech ya Natembeya.
Niliona
Natembeya shatokea. Alafu they actually shared the clip ya Duale akiambia Wasomali, akiwa Somalia, akisema mkikuja Kenya, msilipue Isili, lipueni place kama Machakos. Unaunderstand sasa kwa nini tunaogopa au the youth wakitokea side.
Sasa you see, for those things I don't know how true it is. You know, nowadays
Zikuna clip.
I can get for you a clip that you saying
CI. Unatikia msali mpaka nipeleke jela. Alafu now people dug in wakapata the video is not clear. Hata ukue AI you'll make at least the video will be clear. Your video ni chafu. Me, so the only thing I was like, maybe he's not saying that. I need to get a Somali to translate it for me.
So the fact that it was announced, maybe that's where you guys or people have a problem with. That it was announced in Northeastern. Ngoja. Maybe the place is where the issue is.
Yes.
But you see, the president announces issues or things or whatever declarations based on where it's appropriate.
Yes.
So when he was doing town halls during his manifesto, see, there are places he has gone and he said, I will do this. For example, he said, when I come president, I will allow you, I will return the transport to the port.
Yes.
For that kind of announcement, because the request came from who? The people of Coast.
Yes.
The people who are in Mombasa. So for that kind of announcement, for sure, it will happen in Mombasa. There's no day that announcement will be made in Muranga.
Yes.
That na sahi nimerudisha port, magari SGR si lazima. Unaweza toa mzigo yako mahali yote ambayo unataka. It won't. It will be done in Mombasa. So if the request came during these town halls, because even for health, you know, he did town halls.
Yes.
And actually, all these reforms, it's the health sector fraternity that gave those requests. So if the request came from Northeastern and said, one of the things we want is a road, we want to be connected to electricity, we want to be connected. Because do you know National Grid inaishia hapo Garissa? After that ni generators. Hii Kenya Power munalialia huko hakuna. Ni Kenya Power yenye inatumia generator. They use diesel generators to generate electricity to supply the town.
Okay, so
National Grid Garissa. Na hiyo Garissa hata ilifika time ya Uhuru. Prior to it there was none.
But steam imekuwa ni shida.
Jomo, Moi, Uhuru, Nini, Kibaki, nothing.
But nini imekuwa ni shida, inaitwa nini, what is it called, like steamer. Sisi kama Ocha I think tuli install steamer too less time ya Uhuru tu bado.
Exactly.
So hiyo hatuwezi sema it's like a northeastern.
No, but you see Ocha ni tofauti na county mzima. Haina.
Okay. But una understand kwa
nini? So county kama hiyo sahi kelele aba hata kama ulikuwa unafuatilizia. Generator ikiharibika ndio hivyo. Town mnabaki kwa giza. Si ya 2 hours watu wanapiga kelele.
Yes.
Ile ni paka watafute spare ya hiyo generator ipatikanwe, ishipiwe by air, iende, o watafute another generator, procurement plan, nini. By the time inasotiwa, miezi 3 watu wako kwa jua inawachoma tu.
But nini, tukimalizia hii story, una understand kwa nini watu wanaogopa your story?
No,
it's the northern frontier, especially considering vile nimetoka kuambia, nimekuot Duale, afu apart from Duale pia kuna time iko inasemekana nani naitwa nani ubuda mwingine wasau mitafala Fara mitafala siku hizi. He's been used kwa like propaganda ya Shabaab. Una understand why now people are worried? Because like kuna time si ushindwa, nilikuwa na an Indian comedian here, and I asked him, and he was super honest. I asked him, where do your loyalties lie, Kenya or India? Akakuwa very honest, akasema Kenya and India, sindio? Tukiangalia how Kenya was formed, where the British decided that kutakuwa na border inaanzia hapa, we fully understand why some Kenyan Somalis still feel a level of loyalty to Somalis wa Somalia. Because in that side, it's just one thing. It's just that the British walichora border. Sindio?
The same thing with the Maasais.
Yes. So the British walichora border. So tuna understand your loyalty. I think the only part sasa huwaga tricky nikikam to stories za terrorism, kuna ile time tunakuwaga like, are these leaders, do they look at it as a problem? Ama sasa sisi ni makafiri, sisi si shida tuki.
No. Definitely, there is no one who would want their house to burn.
Yes.
Even the same leaders that you are saying, they wouldn't want to live in Mogadishu for even a day.
Yes. Okay.
Why? Because
Hakuna peace.
hakuna mtu anataka. So no one enjoys a fight. And I understand the fear, the bias, the thinking. It's human nature.
Okay.
It's the same thing when we ukienda hizi nchi za wazungu uende kuishi. They will look at you, this African.
Yes.
Why? Because even if you are born, even if you are raised, even if you got your documents in the UK through the normal process, so them they just still feel there is a problem. So it's human nature.
Okay.
But you see now people, what has compounded is kuwa ni president.
Yeah, kusisi sasa.
So there is always this bias, anything.
Anatafuta kura, si naona anatafuta kura. Unaelewa?
No, but you see, kutafuta kura si kitu unaweza mfunza.
Lakini just this time, you see what has happened in Kenya is for the first time.
I don't believe ni kitu unaweza mwambia hivi ndio kura inatafutwa. Si mtu mgeni kwa politics.
But unakumbuka huni mtu alikuwa anapendwa sana Central, because the only reason, if you are to be honest, tukikompare Ruto na
alikuwa
Raila.
anachukiwa wapi?
Tukiangalia Ruto na Raila, who won more regions in quotes? Who won more regions?
Raila.
Yes. So Ruto needed the mountain. So saizi vile ame lose the mountain, of course, the northern frontier. Watu wanazana pale.
But still, I don't think you can declare. You know, that's how elections are lost.
Yes.
That unasema, he has lost. So you write him off.
So the mountain.
Then when you come to election time, you know, then watu wanaanza kushtuka.
Ayo ni shambia watu like fighting him we've itakuwa hard. That one I know. Mi sijaijidanganya hata ndio kuna watu wanasemaga I work for Ruto because I keep telling people defeating Ruto won't be as easy as people think. It's going to be really hard.
But he's also delivering what is in manifesto.
So far, you see,
and he is also moving us away from these arithmetics of regions. And
yes.
If we were fair as a country, and we are just, and we want to do this thing unbiased, and we want to move as a country forward, what we should hold him accountable is to say, hiyo manifesto yako, let's stick. You promise to do X. So that whoever will be competing against him, aulizwe, lete na wewe yako.
Yes.
Uyu already tuko na marking scheme. Wewe uko na bahati, you are starting now. So wewe lete yako. Then we compare with his new one enye atapeana. Because even him, he will come with another one ambaye atasema, my second term, I will do 1, 2, 3, 4. But you will ask him, 1, what did you do with 1? The first one enye ulikuwa nayo. So that, because every year previously we have had manifestos and no one ever used to implement.
Yes.
They used to be pieces of paper inaenda kwa shelf. Then look at the tweets from D. Now he usually quotes He says, this is what we promised.
Yeah,
Why are
ndi
you-
namchuaga ndi
Why are you surprised that we are doing it?
ndi lakini unajua tutolea zile za ovyo za ati we found this country corrupt, we leave it corrupt, so kuna hizo zake, but I think one of the things
but you know the problem ya professors or watu kama yeye ni kuwa unless you understand the deeper meaning of what he's trying to say, you will always take it face value. So when he says we found this country corrupt and we will leave it corrupt, it's because he knows it's Kenyans who are stealing. It's not one or two people. I told you that hospital, it was collecting 1.5 million. How did it jump to 11.5 billion?
okay
Kwani ni governor ndio alikuwa anaenda ana collect? It's Kenyans. So it will take some time before we come up and say the country has changed, that there is no more corruption. And it's not that there is no corruption even in the West. It's just that
yes, there's corruption, but it's reasonable. It's I think kuna ile joke ni Raila upatanaga ile joke ati mtu wa Malaysia alivisit
alienda Nigeria I know
yes but sasa nini
so when he says those things they look very blunt, but if you look into depth of what he's saying, he's just basically telling you the truth that there is no day we will clean and say today there is no corruption from today. There is no day. What you can do, it's the same thing. What did I tell you? That I can't tell you fraud will be zero.
Yes.
Why? Because you, the hospital, and the doctor can collude and claim. So it will take time.
Na kuna hotline ya nini ya report
147
fraud
147.
Oh, you can report fraud.
Call 147 and then you give us. So the other thing that we want to do is we want to create a portal for reporting anonymously.
Tutamalizana na story ya Sha, alikuwa nataka tumalizane na politics kwanza. So story ya what would you, as someone from northeastern ama the northern frontier, what would you consider fair vetting? Because sisi bado tuko na ile element ya we don't want, me personally musema hata sitaki mtu wa Uganda apate ID, sitaki any foreigner apate ID because dynamics zake na zangu zitakuwa different. Dynamics zake zitakuwa Ruto amenipatia ID, wacha nivotie Ruto. Mi dynamics zangu on the other side zitakuwa I need more than that, because I already had an ID. So what do you think would be fair vetting? Because there has to be a level of vetting considering how there's such a thin line between Somalians from Somali,
but it's still,
Somalis from Somalia and from Kenya. So your thin line, what's fair vetting?
No, the vetting is still ongoing, even now, when there is no nini. So it's done by the chief, it's done by the security committee in the county, it's done. So there are many ways of doing that, and I'm sure the administration understands, and this falls under Ministry of Interior. So they have all the necessary from the village elder, sub-chief, chief, sub-county commissioner, commissioner. So they have the whole administration in place. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.